Still, toys could possibly be as fun as the real thing. Plus, it wouldn't be good for you to use these toys in the long run. I actually learned some massage techniques before I came here. They were supposed to be very effective for strengthening one's performance. I was shocked. Even though I already knew that he was a rugged, plain-spoken farmer, I never expected him to discuss such things with me so directly. But as I thought back on those lonely, grueling nights, I found myself flushing as I gave him my consent. I woke Peter up, telling him that Anthony wanted to give him a massage. Afraid that he'd turn me down immediately if I told him the massage was to aid with his performance, I kept this detail from him after all. He was completely uninterested in being intimate after his accident. So, all I told him was that the massage was helpful for the recovery of his sight. As expected, he perked up immediately the moment he heard that the massage was for the recovery of his sight. Not long after, Anthony entered the room and began massaging Peter. Not only did Anthony's movements look quite professional, but Peter started humming with pleasure. Not only that, but I noticed a clear bulge in his pants. This was actually Peter's first time getting it up without any help since the accident. Once Anthony noticed that Peter was almost ready, he gave me a pat, signaling that it was time for me to enjoy the results. That is all for today then. I'll leave you both to it. Upon saying that, he pushed the door open and stepped out. Peter shoved me down onto the bed without warning, urgently pulling his member out and shoving it straight into my mouth. Even though he was blind, his strength was overwhelming, so much so that I couldn't free myself from him at all. His hands wandered all over me, and my throat soon began to feel like it was on fire. I even started to get wet between my legs. After hollowing out my cheeks for a while, I was really beginning to struggle. I feel so empty. I need you to help me, darling. But the moment I let go, Peter forced himself right back in. There is no need to feel empty. You are okay, I choked, sounding close to tears. You can just focus on your own pleasure and leave me hanging. Oh, come on, he huffed. Just take it for a bit longer. It is too late now. I knew how insecure Peter was about only being able to last a few seconds. But how could we know if we didn't try? Anthony had given him that massage. After all, just then, I noticed a pair of eyes from the corner of my eye. I glanced toward the door, only to realize that it had been left slightly ajar. Someone was actually staring straight at me through the gap in the door. As it turned out, Anthony had not left at all. In fact, he was peeping at us. I know. Peter had violently ripped most of my top to shreds, and whatever remained of my top was barely covering my chest. My first reaction was to cover myself, but Peter was now riding my face, making it impossible for me to even budge. I couldn't believe that my father-in-law was actually witnessing such a messy sight. The forbidden thrill made me both nervous and excited, and I felt I had become drenched down there. The gap in the door widened, and I noticed the breathtaking bulge in Anthony's pants. My goodness, that massive bulge probably meant that he was bigger than anything I had ever seen. I couldn't help but gulp. In the next moment, something even more staggering showed itself. Anthony actually loosened his pants and began to pleasure himself. I gasped at the sight of the real thing. He was huge, dark, and thick. How could any woman handle something that size? Would they even survive it? When Anthony saw how my eyes were fixed on his shaft, his eyes turned completely red. Then, he actually crept into the room. As I watched his tall figure loom closer and closer to me, I panicked slightly. What was he doing then? I felt a pair of hands resting gently on my knees. Oh, my goodness. I couldn't believe how bold he actually was. Those calloused hands slowly traveled up my thighs, stimulating waves of tremors down my body. Part of me wanted